What is up, Karma Nation? Welcome here to the very first NASCAR Live of the 2021 season. We have some new faces here, so before we get to anything DraftKings, FanDuel, betting, anything NASCAR-wise, what we're going to do real quick is we're going to introduce you guys to some new faces. So we have, this is actually a brother duo here. We got Luke and Jake from NASCAR Fantasy Zone. So go ahead and to wave to all your brand new fans. You got a lot of people in here tuning into this. We have Dave, of course. If you guys remember from last season, Dave actually finished ranked number 1 out of all DFS analysts across the entire industry for NASCAR content. How they do that? There's a site called Daily Overlay where they rank it based on accuracy. So they take all your cash plays and then they rank them and they see where they finish. And then based on accuracy, Dave, of course, finished first in the industry, which we're very proud of. He's here with some new friends, and we're going to cut straight to the chase now. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Click the thumbs up button. If you're not watching on YouTube, head over there and click on the subscribe button because we are going to be doing a lot of recorded podcasts through all sports, and all the recorded content does go to our YouTube. So make sure you head over there to do that. Now, if you guys are not familiar with our NASCAR content, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to turn off my face. You guys can see some of our content here. So first things first, I'm going to go straight to our NASCAR core plays and props package. This is very similar to what you've seen in the previous seasons. This is going to give you access to our final thoughts, which is the cheat sheet that was showing right before I switched over. It'll give you access to our core plays for DraftKings, FanDuel, Super Draft. Dave is going to be heading up, still doing the Monkey Knife Fight and Price Picks prop plays. And actually, quick plug there. I believe Monkey Knife Fight's doing a promo today only for Daytona 500 that your first $10 play on Monkey Knife Fight is I don't know what the term they used is. It's pretty much free, where if it loses, you get your $10 back. So you're definitely going to want to plug Dave's Monkey Knife Fight plays that are in the premium channel. How to get to the premium channel? You just got to sign up for this package here. NASCAR Core Plays and Props. You find this by clicking subscriptions in the menu, whether you're on mobile or on desktop. We have weekly options. If you just want to, try us out for Daytona 500, you can sign up for the weekly option. If you already know that Dave's the GOAT and you're confident that Jake and Luke are going to bring the action as well, you can do monthly or season long. You save some money there as well. You're going to get some. If you sign up for the Optimizer, there is a NASCAR Optimizer. This is what it looks like right here. And then, of course, this is the final thoughts. It looks a little different than previous years. We kind of made it more optimal, where it's something that could be more live updated. So if there is a driver that gets scratched, 30 minutes before lock for whatever reason it may be, or DQ'd or anything like that, then this is where it'll be live updating to. And then, of course, we have the free article. If you do want to check this out, I highly recommend it. So Luke's taken over the weekly article here for the Cup Series. It's already live. If you want to find it, just go to dfskarma.com, click on the NASCAR drop-down menu, and then click on NASCAR articles. And you'll see this right there. And, of course, you see Final Thoughts, which, of course, is for our premium MVP and NASCAR subscribers. Without further ado, let's kick things off. If you guys remember last season, we're going to do the same exact thing as we did last season. What we're going to do is going to start things off by talking about all of these guys' favorite cash and GPP drivers for the top tier, the mid tier, and then, of course, the low tier range. And then we're going to finish things off at the very end talking about our favorite drivers that we would bet on outside of the top 5 favorites, and then the craziest odd driver that if all things go well, we actually believe they have an outside chance to win this race. But let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so first things first, Dave, we'll start off with you. Who is your favorite cash driver for the 2021 Daytona 500?
Travis, we meet up 30 minutes prior to this thing and we talk about how this is going to go. And you say, Dave, I'm going to throw it to you and tell you that you can talk about the track and the strategy that we're supposed to do. And then you go and tell me to talk about cash.
I'm going to keep you on your toes. I like to switch things up. But let's go ahead and start off with that then, Dave. Tell people what they should not be doing. Tell people, do not do the Anthony way. Don't do the Anthony
way. Yes, exactly. Don't do the Anthony Daytona strategy. So anyways, Daytona is a super speedway. When it comes to DFS, there's a strategy that you have to play if you want to be successful long term when you play super strategy or super speedway DFS. And that is basically you're playing to limit yourself from the carnage that will happen. If you watched the truck race or the Xfinity race this weekend so far, heck, if you've even watched the duels, you saw a couple accidents in there. They all run together, and at some point in time, they all get together. And you're trying to, if you start guys in the back, this year's a little different with the way the duels played out. I think you've got some plays in the 20s that can probably be a cash play this year. But for the most part, you're leaving thousands, Anthony, thousands on the table. Not just like 800 or 1,000. Place differential is key. It's super key when it comes to playing DFS, and you gotta use that strategy. And the thing about the Daytona 500, it's the first race of the year. You could get a lot of fish playing today. So people that I looked at it, my 3-mans and 5-mans yesterday. I had guys that played like basically the whole top 10, and after Allgaier crashed out and a bunch of others, I easily cashed in those. So just listen to us. Put that strategy to work, and you're going to do just fine.
All right. So now that we got the strategy underway, Dave, go ahead.
Me again?
Well, instead of bouncing back and forth, you're already talking, man. Just go ahead and tell me your favorite cash top tier play.
Okay, fine. Cash top tier play. It's going to be Denny Hamlin. This is kind of what I'm talking about when it came to this year. Yeah, no. Well, Denny. I was hoping he was, I wouldn't have to, I could get back to the strategy, but, he ran out of gas in his duel at the end of the race and started dropping back. So finished, I think, 13th in that duel. So I put him in the 25th starting spot. So the guy is just good at Daytona. Last year he won the Daytona 500. If you remember that huge wreck by Newman, Hamlin actually won that race. I know we all remember Newman over that, but then he finished third here in August. So, and he's won here in 2019. It's back Daytona 500s. I'll leave that till the end of the pod on that next point. But Denny is just great. He's a great super speedway driver. He's great at Daytona, and he's gonna be uber chalk. He's gonna be so chalky in cash games. You got to play him there.
All right, Luke, what's your opinion on Hamlin and cash? And if you favor someone else more than him as your number one top tier cash play, who'd you roll with?
It's hard not to like Hamlin in cash games this week. Of all the top tier guys, he's starting the furthest back in the field, and like Dave said, he's been great at the super speedways. He's won the last 2 Daytona 500s. It's hard not to like him here. He's gonna be pretty high owned, so he makes sense as a solid cash game option for the top tier plays.
All right, then Jake, moving on to you. Let's go ahead. First off, yay or nay on Hamlin and cash? All right, I'm guessing since he's going to be so chalky that you pretty much wait. Hold on, pause. Did you say no? You're not playing Hamlin and cash?
No. It's a yay. He's essentially a lock. I mean, everyone's going to be on him, and for good reason. Like Luke said, he's won the last 2 Daytona 500s. Won it in 2016 as well. I'd say he's the odds-on favorite to win the race. So I just can't pass on Hamlin. You got to plug him in.
I was really hoping that your very first, the very first sentence out of your mouth in your first live stream was "Screw you guys! You guys are idiots. Fade Hamlin." I was really hoping that was gonna come out. I'm like, this guy's got balls. No. All right. So real quick, guys. No matter what you're watching this on right now, there is a chat option. If you have questions to ask us throughout the entire stream, please ask us the questions now. I'm just reading off a few that are popping up from YouTube here. Jose Solomon says, yay. Jacques says, I miss y'all. Ryder, Dave is still the cutest face at Karma. Sarugi punches in here with, this race is different, though, just like all restricted plate racing. You can't project a crash, and predicting racers is so hard. Fish have a great chance of winning. Am I wrong? What are your thoughts on Dave? What are your thoughts on that one?
No, no. The fish have a horrible. They don't play the strategy. That's the problem. They play these guys who start up front, and then they end up with a lineup that scores like 15 points. No, fish are horrible at this. This is why I was telling Luke earlier this morning. We were DMing, and I told him I play a lot on Daytona because it sets me up for the rest of the year, and It's just, there's so many fish here, and they just like they say, "Ooh, well, I can fit in Chase Elliott, and I can fit in Bubba Wallace, who's starting 6th, and I can fit in all these other guys." And then they don't even have to wreck. My guys can move up and outscore them in place differential. So no, I totally disagree with that statement.
All right, Luke, starting off with you on this one. Sticking with that top tier, who is your favorite GPP for the top tier range?
So for GPPs, it's tough because I like Blaney and Logano, but I'll probably go with Blaney here just because he's won 2 of the last 5 super speedway races. He drives for Team Penske, and he has some great teammates to work with, and he clearly knows how to put himself in a position to win. So I think of the top tier options for GPP, I think Blaney is probably the guy that sticks out to me the most, and he's not going to the rear like Brad.
All right, is this where Jake comes in and says you're an idiot, and is this where that idiot comment comes in here, and he just goes completely opposite, saying fade Blaney? What do you think, Jake, on that one?
I totally agree with Luke. I mean, it's 100% between Blaney and Logano for me. I mean, they're both on Team Penske. Penske always brings fast cars to the super speedways. The Fords in general are just always fast with Roush Yates engines and stuff. So I got to go Blaney or Logano. I think that's the smartest decision. They seem to always find their way to the front, and they hang around up there. And when the checkered flies, they're typically up there in the top 5, top 10. So if Denny doesn't win this race, I would say if you want to bet on someone else, I would say Blaney and Logano are good picks.
Now, Dave, when Luke first said Logano and Blaney, then leaned Blaney, you made a weird face of I don't even know what the expression was. So what is your thoughts?
As everyone knows in Discord, my avatar is Ryan Blaney, so with his big old goofy mustache and whatnot. I had to switch drivers because my driver is now the GOAT in the booth with Clint Boyer, so now my new driver this year is Ryan Blaney. I agree with them with Ryan Blaney. I think we'd be hard pressed not to talk about Brad Keselowski. Brad will have the ownership, so he almost consider him for cash. I don't know though. I kind of lean a little bit away from him just because of track history.
Right.
And but when it comes to GPP, starting 24th, he's got that upside with place differential. If he's able to avoid the wrecks, then he's going to definitely pay off. But I love Ryan Blaney. I think he's a great play too.
I honestly thought that avatar was you with a mustache.
Oh, you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
I was like, Dave grew out a mustache. All right. So when I read these questions out from the chat, any of you three, whoever wants to jump on the answer first can. Stepbro on YouTube says, "Is Brad K a good move?" I know that Dave just talked about Keselowski a second ago. Moving on to Logan May on Twitter, his question was, "Would you run both?" In regards to Blaney and Logano, would you run both? And this is still the GPP mindset category. Who wants to take?
I mean, I've got a Logano, Brad, Blaney, Matt Benedetto, Austin Cindric lineup there. I just gave you 5 guys. It's a Penske stack. It's basically what it is. These guys all get together. They work together. The Fords work together. The Chevys work together. The Toyotas tend to make a deal with Chevys to work together here. So, so I don't mind putting that in a GPP.
All right, let's move things on now to the mid-tier cash. Jake, we'll start with you first. Who is your favorite mid-tier cash play for this Daytona 500?
If I had to pick, I think I'd go with Eric Jones. And the reason why is he offers a lot of place differential starting from 31st. He has a proven history on the super speedways. He has, for every race he finishes in the top 5, there's another race he finishes in the bottom 5. He's very boom or bust, but he's a driver that has proven he can get it done. He's in a new ride this year in the 43 for Richard Petty Motorsports, and I think he wants to prove himself. And I expect a strong run from him today. I think if he can just stay out of trouble and get to the final 10 laps, he'll be there at the end and should have a shot to win this thing. So I really like Eric Jones.
All right, Dave, what are your mid-tier cash thoughts?
Well, then I go back to it. I was typing something in Discord.
Well fired.
Yeah, I know, right? So was that cash or GPP?
Cash mid. You're not even... Dave is on his 6th. He's on his 6th mojito right now. Nobody pay attention to Dave.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
mid-tier
mid-tier cash play. Looking at Ross Chastain. He's now in the 42, which was Larson's ride last year. Was Kenseth took over after Larson's little miscue. and so he's in a decent car. Starts 34th. You know, he's going to be in the back. His old strategy was to hang back, let everything happen around him. Got better equipment than that 15 car he drove last year. So hopefully he still implores that strategy. But I think the floor is so safe with Ross that you're fine using him in cash.
All right. Any last thoughts on that mid-tier cash spot there, Luke?
I think they covered it pretty well. I mean, I think in this price range that Jones and Chastain make the most sense for cash. I mean, there's other options like Reddick, Busher, Stenhouse, guys like that, but I think they're starting a little too high for me to consider for a cash game.
All right. Staying with you, Luke, let's go to the GPP side of the mid-tier range. Who are we targeting?
So for the mid-tier, I think Chris Busher makes a lot of sense this week just because he drives a Ford, and the Fords usually do very well at the super speedways. And he's finished top 10 in 3 of the last 4 super speedway races. So he knows how to work his way up to the front, have a shot at winning at the end. And I think he makes a strong mid-tier option for this weekend.
All right. And before we hop over to Jake here for his mid-tier GPP thoughts, I'm just going through the chat here. Let's see. Bonta on Twitter says, should I pick Jones or Reddick? I'm not sure, Bonta, what style of contest you're playing, so kind of just drop that in the chat. It helps us answer those questions. Logan says, all I needed to hear, always on MDB, just needed the thoughts on the rest. Sarugi on YouTube, I don't know if you give opinions on lineups, but I made this one. Chastain, Gralla, Hamlin, Jones, Logano, Truex. So I don't know if anyone wants to say a yay or nay on that. I'm not sure what they say it's on DraftKings, but I don't know what type of contest that is. That's
as long as it's not cash, that's fine.
All right. If it is cash, don't do it. And then Ryder, who's I think the captain of the Dave fan club. I don't even know anything about NASCAR, but I could listen to Dave talk about it all day. And then Ethan jumps in with Bubba's gonna win today. All right. So Jake, mid-tier GPP. What are we thinking?
Well, I got to say first, Luke stole my pick. I really like Chris Busher today. In a fast Roush Fenway car, typically he's a driver that kind of hangs back, it seems, but when it's the final 10 laps, final 5 laps of the race, he's up there in the front, avoids the carnage, and gets to the end. So I think he's been on a bit of a hot streak as of late. I think he has like 3 top 10s in his last 4 super speedway starts. So I really like that play. But besides him, I also like Tyler Reddick. I think starting deep from 29th, Reddick's the guy who he had a pretty successful rookie year. The plate race, I believe he had some crashes, but I believe his last one he got a top 10. So I think he's an aggressive driver, which is a little scary. You know, you don't want him to cause the big one and take himself out and a bunch of others. But I like Reddick from where he starts. And one other driver I like is Matt DiBenedetto for Penske affiliate. Fast car, and DiBenedetto's a veteran who has plenty of experience, and I think he should find his way to the front with the other Penske guys. So that's what I like from the middle range.
So Clovis on YouTube was just asking, how did Austin Dillon's car look? Was it fast? Also Hamlin's car. So we have a question on, did Austin Dillon and Hamlin's car look fast? I don't know if anybody wants to drop their 2 cents on that question.
I see you referring to like practice or
just I guess
or qualifying.
Yeah. Could be referring to the duel.
Oh,
maybe.
Well, Austin seemed to be up there for most of the time, so Austin seemed pretty fast. Denny, as usual, the JGR cars typically don't qualify too great on for qualifying for the 500, but that's because they're not focused on that. They're focused on having the car set up good for the race. So I think Denny Hamlin and Austin, I wouldn't worry too much about the speed in their cars. I think those are 2 drivers that can definitely score top 10s and potentially win.
Let's move on to the low tier cash. Dave, who's your favorite? And because this is typically for these kind of races, the super speedways and the restrictors and stuff, this low tier is kind of where you make the money. And so cash wise, low tier, who's the guy that's gonna be 90% owned?
It's going to be Austin Cindric, probably, I would have to say. Starts 39th, part of that Penske brigade. go back to the mid-tier a little bit. That mid-tier is pretty sexy. There's a lot of great plays in that, starting in like around, between 20th and 26th, 27th. There's some great plays in that mid-tier for tournaments, tournament-wise. So make sure to check on Luke's final thoughts for that, because you definitely want pieces of that in your lineup. But when it comes to the low tier here, Austin Cindric, he won the Xfinity race yesterday, qualified on, even though he crashed in his duel, he qualified for the 500 due to his qualifying time. He starts 39th. He's got great upside today. I think he'll get together with his Ford teammates, and I think you'll see Austin probably take it a little easy to start. Just try to get his feet wet here in Cup, because he will be riding or driving a few Cup races this year, and then he'll take over Matt DiBenedetto's ride next year. So I think Austin's going to be a great cash play, and yeah.
All right, Luke. Cheapo driver cash plays. Are we on that same one as Dave, or do we favor somebody else more than that?
Okay, so I mean, Cindric's by far the best cash option for the value, but you can also consider Kaz Grala as an option. He's starting last. He offers so much place differential. He can't kill you because he can't go backwards. He makes a lot of sense. He's super cheap at only 4,900. I know salary doesn't matter, but he looks like a great option for cash games starting that far back.
All right, and rounding things out with Jake, any final thoughts on the cheapo cash spot?
I agree with them. I think Cindric starting from 39th in a Penske car with teammates out there that can help him. I mean, that's a great play. I see that. I mean, if he can stay out of trouble, stay with his teammates, that could be a potential top 15, top 10. So I really like that play. Kaz as well. I see Kaz I can picture him hanging back for a while, kind of seeing what happens up front, maybe avoid the big one by staying back there and getting a solid finish. So like Luke and Dave said, I think they're the best based on where they're starting and the equipment they're in. And I think Kaz has a ECR engine, so should be pretty fast.
All right, and then before we switch gears and stick with you, Jake, for the GPP cheapo, I got a question here from Bowdy on YouTube. Of all drivers at any price, what is the favorite play for a single entry or 3 max GPP? So if you're only doing 1 to 3 lineups in a GPP, favorite driver at their price. And that's to anyone.
Okay, I'll go first. I was waiting for someone else to jump in. Denny Hamlin. If you're playing only 1 lineup or 2 lineups, you got to have Denny in there. He's just got too much upside. Yeah, he could crash, but it just compared to some of the other drivers, there's a good chance he wins the race today. So Denny Hamlin.
All right, Jake, the cheapo GPPs is first say who your favorite play is, and do you think that they're going to be high owned because of what you're explaining about them, or do you think it's going to be more of a low owned punt play?
So in the cheapo range, I'm liking both Chris Buescher and Chase Briscoe. Chris Buescher, I think we already said, fast normally gets good finishes at the super speedway. So I really like him where he's priced. I see him staying out of trouble, which you want consistency at these tracks when you're looking at the track history, and Buescher has that for the most part. And then Chase Briscoe starting from 30th in a SHR car. I see that. Briscoe obviously doesn't have much Cup experience. He doesn't have any Cup experience, but he's a driver I think that is very smart behind the wheel. I mean, he won 9 races in Xfinity, so he obviously has a good idea of what he's doing. So I see Briscoe maybe getting with his SHR teammates, riding along with them for a while, and I could see him finishing top 15, top 10. So I really like Chase Briscoe. And one other play down there, Michael McDowell, really good history that front row has at these plate tracks. McDowell has finished, I believe, top 10 multiple times at Daytona and Talladega. So I really like him as well.
All right. I think Jake was trying to take all possible plays away from Dave. Dave, is there anybody down there left, Dave? That
he didn't take the one. He didn't take the one. I was waiting. When he went, and then I'm like, oh, here it comes. And
Jake should just listed off like every driver in that range. Like, okay, Dave, is there anybody else?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with someone. He's in. I'll tell you this right now. He is one of my drivers in my GPP core on both FanDuel and on DraftKings. It's Jamie McMurray, driving the 77 car. It's I'm like 99% confident this is a Chip Ganassi car. It would only make sense since he basically drove with him for his whole career. He starts 19th, so when it comes to, you don't play him in cash. He's more of a GPP play. He's won the Daytona 500 once. He's already been on. I was watching, I don't know, it's a truck race or before the Xfinity race. He already said he's gonna hang back and let everything happen in front of him, and then he'll move up. He's not crashing in the first 50 laps, is what he said. So I think Jamie's a safe GPP play that's probably low owned. I don't see a lot of people on Jamie as opposed to some of these other guys like Chase Briscoe and all the other guys that you listed off.
Is there anybody left for Luke? That's the question.
Yeah, a lot of the picks are gone, but I'll go with Anthony Alfredo. I'm sure he's going to be high owned because he's starting far back, but he looks like a solid option starting 36. He offers a bunch of place differential. I think Alfredo might be a guy that hangs around in the back, lets the carnage happen, and works his way up by the end of the race. So I think him and Kaz Grala look good. So I think if you're in a GPP, I think of the chalk guys starting near the back, I think Stinger kind of makes the most sense to fade. I know he can burn you if he does finish well, but I think he's going to be the most aggressive. And if he crashes and you avoid that chalk, you're going to be in a really good spot.
All right, this question's for anybody. YouTube Sarugi's back with, would you play Cindric and Grala in the same lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to. They're both starting 39th and 40th, so they can only go forward, right?
Right. Moving on to Melissa, one of our premium subs in YouTube. She's asking, do you have any love? This is the name I don't think anybody's mentioned today. Is there any love for Kyle Busch?
No, I think I've got my 150 build. I can tell you right now how much I've got of Kyle Busch in my 150 build.
0.
I remember it's 150 lineups, so I've got him in 6 lineups. So, and that's probably too much, honestly. But I got like a little exposure to like the top, the back half of the top 10. I think that's how I said it right. Just in case, one of these guys sneaks in. Kyle, he just doesn't have. He's got a lot of wins and a lot of trophies and all that stuff. But one thing he doesn't have is a Daytona 500 victory. And if you look at his history here, it's not the greatest. He's just someone I'm probably not targeting today.
So pretty much, if the guys at the top, which we've already kind of mentioned with the style of contest, they offer no incentive to use them unless, of course, like Dave said, he's doing 150 lines and they're in 6 of them. Let's see. Cody on YouTube, any love for Brad K in tournaments? I know we talked about him briefly, but I don't know if in terms of tournaments or not.
I mean, Keselowski offers a lot of place differential, so he definitely makes sense as a tournament option. He's going to be high owned, but you gotta target the place differential guy. He hasn't finished well as of late, the super speedways, but that's probably just due to bad luck. So the way I see it is he's due for a good race.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap things up with this with this live stream. Oh, it's one of those days. This tournament of live streams. Let's go wrap things up by talking about how we ended our podcast and our live streams last season, where I want to know everyone's favorite driver to win with no barriers, and then somebody that's the least favored in terms of what the sports books would consider favored. That if everything goes right for them, if they stay back and all the carnage happens in front, they have a chance based on their skill set, their track history, their car or their teammates, whatever it may be, to shoot themselves to first place there for the checkered flag. So first is, I don't even ask Dave. We already know he's probably got $6,000 on Denny Hamlin right now at this point. I think he's probably made like 10 bets during this live stream. Like, I don't have enough money on him.
I would never do that. Not this.
So we know that he is favoring Denny Hamlin to win here, but But Luke, if you were picking one person with no barriers, just literally the number one person you think to bet on for the winner of this race, who would it be?
So it could be anyone.
Yeah, if you had to pick, one.
I mean, it's hard not to like Hamlin. If I had to pick a second option though, outside of Hamlin, I'd probably go with Ryan Blaney because he's won 2 of the last 5.
Okay, and I think we lost to Cam for Jake. So I don't know if Jake is still there or not. Jake, if you're still alive out there, let me know who your favorite driver is to win. I'm going to guess that he's not alive. So while we wait on him to wake up from that coma, Dave, the driver furthest from the top in terms of odds, that if everything goes right, they have an outside chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see what I wrote down on this cocktail napkin here. I think it was Ricky Stenhouse. He is 25 to 1 on, let's see. Yep, 25 to 1 on DK Sportsbook right now. He's a super speedway specialist, and everything go right, that guy will find himself at the front near the end. He's probably more of a Talladega play than he is a Daytona play, but 25 to 1, I'll take that.
All right. And then we got a question here. Sarugi says, how much is too much to leave on the table? Is there ever such thing as too much for the Daytona 500?
I mean, it kind of depends. I mean, if you're playing like the back guys, you're probably leaving it like, I don't know, 18, 20K on the table. Most of mine are, I think, in the range of like between 5 and like 11K.
So Jake, now that you're back, question for you is, so we already have Dave with Hamlin, and then Luke said he also likes a little bit of Blaney. If you're picking one driver to win Daytona 500, who do you like either of those as your number one, or would you pick someone else as your driver to win this race with no handicaps or barriers?
It's hard to bet against Hamlin and Blaney. To be different, I'll say Logano, but that's really not that much of a stretch either. Obviously, very fast driver at the super speedways and knows what he's doing with the draft. So I would bet, if I were to pick 3 drivers to watch for the win, I would say Hamlin, Logano, Blaney. So, yeah.
All right. Now, Dave already talked about his least favorite driver, that if everything goes right for them, they have a chance of winning, which is, I believe he said 25 to 1, Ricky, or what Dave coins as Ricky Stenhouse. So, Luke, furthest from the top in terms of who is favored, if everything goes right for them, based on whatever analytics and data you want to throw in there, who would be that driver that if everything goes right, like they would need a perfect storm to win, but if that does happen, they can win?
I'm going to go with Ryan Preece. He's starting 11th, but his odds to win are 200 to 1. That seems kind of high for him, or low. So I think if you're betting on a long shot, I think Ryan Preece is your guy this weekend.
So yours is a mixture of skill set and also payout, because 201 is pretty massive there. So okay, that makes sense. And then finishing, go ahead.
So if there's a lot of wrecks that takes out a lot of the good cars, I think Preece could be someone that takes advantage of that and could be there and pull off the upset at the end of the race.
Okay, and then finishing up with Jake, furthest from the top in terms of who is favored to win this race. Stenhouse has been mentioned. We have Preece. Was any of those your number one pick, or do you have somebody else outside of those two?
For some reason, I've got a gut feeling about Chris Buescher today.
You mentioned him as a cash play. You've mentioned him as a GPP play. I mean, all right, go ahead.
I've just got a good feeling about him. He knows what he's doing. He'll hang around, I think, kind of at the back, stay out of trouble. And I like drivers that aren't overly aggressive. And Buescher isn't that until he needs to be at the very end of the race. I could see Buescher's a play I could see working without there being too much attrition. I could see him. He has the speed with the car, I'm sure. So he'll be up there at the end. Since I've been obsessing with Buescher so much, I'll give you one other. McDowell, fast front row, like I said, really fast at the super speedways. McDowell's a skilled plate racer who's had success with multiple teams at the super speedways. So I think McDowell could get it done.
All right, let's see. We got some questions here. Matthew says Preece is the kryptonite. Logan on Twitter says, if you guys after the stream pop into Discord real quick, I think he posted a lineup he wants to know your thoughts on. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that after this wraps up here in a second. Yeah, and then Sarugi says, did Dave say he left up to 11K left over? I mean, that's not crazy for this kind of tournament, right? To have because Dave's making a ton of lineups though, so I mean,
yeah, I've got 150. I've got 150 lineups. It's not like my cash lineup doesn't have 11K. I can give you a range of where my cash lineup is right now, but yeah, I mean that's for tournaments and stuff like that.
Would all three of us agree, or I guess all four of us, including myself, but all three of you guys agree that if you have 1,000 or less, you're not doing it right at all? Like, there's no possible way you're strategic in your 1,000 leftover or less lineup, or is there still a way that's
with the way that qualifying was this week? I don't think that's like the exact way I'd put it. No, I got a couple lineups that are under 1,000, but there's ways to do it. And there's ways to have some safety in it, but you have to take a couple risks. It's a tournament lineup, but yeah, my cash lineup's in like the middle of that range that I gave out is what my cash lineup is. But yeah, so I don't mind. But don't be putting like all your lineups under 1,000 because there's a good chance it's not going to work out. I'm just telling you that right now, because a couple of guys that are there tend to have issues like Truex and Keselowski and trying to think of the other one. I can't remember the other one, but those guys tend to have issues at the 500 too. So and can't keep their car clean. So
all right, so
play the strategy. Be smart.
I mean, that pretty much just wraps up this first stream here. So what we're gonna do is, in years past, we're gonna try to pop these out at noon, depending, of course, if it's a Saturday race or if it's some random race that lock is noon or earlier. But traditionally, 12 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays, we're going to at least get a few of these guys on here to do the same thing, where they just talk about their plays and they answer questions live. Now, I've said this at the beginning, but if you guys are just didn't catch the beginning of it, if you want to get access to all of our premium stuff, and I'm talking about the core plays for DraftKings, FanDuel, Super Draft, the final thoughts, the prop plays for Monkey Knife Fight and Price Picks, every single thing that's premium on NASCAR, you can get it by signing up for any of our MVP packages or the one you see on screen right now, which is the NASCAR Core Plays and Props. They start at $10.
How have we been doing on Price Picks there, Travis?
How have we been doing on Price Picks for NASCAR? I mean, I'm pretty sure you've already won people, their entire year subscription worth?
Yeah, pretty much.
If you signed up early and you play the Xfinity, all
everything but the Clash, and the Clash was Denny Hamlin moving up one more spot, and we would have swept Prize Picks this week. Just a little FYI. So
if you signed up early, you would have already made your entire season cost of your NASCAR season long package back. But yeah, so it's if you do want to try it, like, we do have weekly options. If you just want to try it for the Daytona 500, and of course, I mean, when you try it, you're going to keep it because these guys are awesome, and I mean, we're ranked number 1 in the industry for a reason. But yeah, so you have the weekly option as well. But the further down you go in terms of monthly and season long, as you see, you save more money per day or per week. And the season long options, I think this is the lowest we've charged at the beginning and in the past couple of years as well. So to find that, just go to dfskarma.com, click on subscriptions. You'll see NASCAR right there as an option. Here's the Optimizer as well. You can sign up for Optimizer Access, where you can have it automate 150 lineups at one time for you. Makes it pretty easy. We have the final thoughts here, color coded to make it easier to differentiate who's a fade, who's a cash, who's upside, who's a GPP play. But yeah, just go to dfskarma.com. That's where all the stuff is. So it looks like we lost Jake's cam there for a hot second again, but we're up and up, so it's all good and gravy. If you have any other questions, what was that?
He joined me now.
I saw his head pop over there. Oh man.
That's funny.
But yeah, make sure you sign up for, or not sign up for, but subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of our recorded podcasts. If you're watching us on something that is not YouTube right now, you'll only see certain live streams there. But if you want to get all the recorded podcasts, all of the goodness, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can either search DFS Karma and YouTube search, or go to karmamedia.live. It'll also populate that as well. Get in the Discord chat. If for whatever reason you don't sign up for a premium NASCAR package or MVP package, you can still get in the Discord chat for free. There's still a free NASCAR discussion channel for all the other people who are not premium members yet. To get into that, it's pretty easy. Just go to chatdfs.com. So CHATDFS.com, and it'll automatically get you an invite to the free NASCAR channel there as well. But we hope everybody enjoyed this first Daytona 500 live stream here, kicking off the season. Good luck to everybody. And remember, when you do win with whatever insight that these gentlemen provided for you today, throw those screenshots up on Twitter, tag the home account at DFS_karma, or simply post them in the screenshots channel in our free chat room. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you here next week for I can't even remember what the race is because all I have is Daytona 500 stuck in my mind. Remind me, what's next week again?
It's the road course. It was supposed to be Fontana. But because of the COVID restrictions and stuff like that out in California, they moved it from Fontana to the Daytona road course.
Oh, the one I went to last year. Maybe I'll go
again.
There you go.
Who
knows? Maybe I'll run into our other. So we had guys in Discord yesterday that some DFS Karma Nation members that both went to the Daytona race yesterday. And they met up, so I thought it was pretty funny. Small world. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next week for the Daytona road course. Good luck, and post those winning screenshots up on Twitter. We'll see you. Deuces.